alternative communication systems during disasters. Learning about modes of emergency communication. Modes of emergency communication. Radio communications. In the scenario where normal telephone and mobile phone network is disrupted or such services have never existed in the disaster affected area, we need to find out other reliable means of communicating urgent messages from the site to shorter and longer distances. The first obvious choice is to establish a wireless radio communication network limited to the area of operations. Any wireless communication link is based on the radio waves either using the terrestrial or satellite systems. A radio wave is an electromagnetic wave propagated by an antenna. Radio waves have different frequencies, and by tuning a radio receiver to a specific frequency, we can pick up a specific signal. Handheld wireless sets, that is, walkie-talkie, are considered to be more suitable for local communication in case of such emergencies. Amateur, that is, ham radio. In the event of major disasters or emergencies, it has been experienced that amateur radios have worked successfully when no other communications worked. Amateur radio, also known as ham radio, does not refer to special kind of radio but to a special set of rules which apply to certain frequencies as defined by the International Telecommunication Union, that is ITU, and regulated in India by Wireless Planning and Coordination Wing, Ministry of Communications. Amateur radio operation does not use the ground-based infrastructure and has limited power requirements which can be easily met by batteries and generators and thus work successfully in emergencies. Amateur radio is getting popular in India as a creative hobby, and there are around 15,000 licensed amateur radio operators, that is hams, in India. Amateur radio is an unbeatable way of learning about radio communications, and not only will you learn much, but you would also be able to help at the time of emergency. Licensed amateur radio operators are known as amateur or hams. Most governments expect their amateurs to provide emergency communication support in case of an emergency, and amateurs always come forward to provide their services voluntarily for establishing crucial communication among the emergency response managers. Such amateur volunteers provided commendable services during the Orissa super cyclone in 1999 and Gujarat earthquake in 2001. In efforts to popularize the amateur radio in the country and develop a trained force of licensed amateurs, Department of Information Technology has initiated a nationwide program to establish amateur radio stations at various places and provide the necessary training for interested amateur station operators. Satellite-based communication systems. Satellite-based communication systems means communication systems intended for users on the Earth but which have some equipment in space, that is, a satellite. Different satellites carry out different jobs, such as taking weather pictures or finding accurate positions on Earth in terms of latitudes and longitudes. Communications satellites are essentially radio relay stations in space and are sometimes referred to as comsats. The other words you may hear are satcoms for satellite communications in general and satphone for a satellite phone terminal. The most important feature of communications satellite is the transponder, a radio that receives a conversation at one frequency and then amplifies it and retransmits it back to Earth on another frequency. A satellite normally contains hundreds or thousands of transponders. Data, television, image, and some telephone transmissions are routinely received and rebroadcasted by these transponders of communication satellites. Present operational Indian space systems include Indian National Satellite, that is INSAT for telecommunication, television broadcasting, meteorology and disaster warning, and Indian Remote Sensing Satellite, that is IRS for resources monitoring and management. This mode of communication is most reliable as the radio relay stations, communication satellites are in space and not at all vulnerable to any natural disasters on the earth, while global communications links can be established with very small, portable and easy to install satellite antennas. Most widely used means of satellite communications in disaster management is satellite phone. For these phones, the satellite works as a telephone exchange. These phones provide very reliable voice and data communication and are very handy and can be transported to any location. Government of India is equipping the disaster or emergency managers in multi-hazard prone districts or states with portable satellite phones so that proper communication among the administrations at local and state level can be maintained in case the main communication line fail. Radio communications and satellite-based communication system are highly reliable and widely used. All India Radio, Doordarshan and Press Trust of India also play a key role in collecting and disseminating information. That is all in this lesson. Always be alert and responsible citizen of our country. Take care, keep learning.